Maybe Donald Trump will go away. Maybe he'll go to jail. Maybe he will die.
Today we start with the Donald Trump gag order. So Trump is currently going through this so-called trial for the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels.
Well, in just a few hours, Stormy Daniels is expected to be back on the stand in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial. The defense team will continue its cross-examination of the adult film star. On Tuesday, Daniels gave vivid details of her sexual encounter with Trump and the alleged hush money payments he gave her in advance of the 2016 election.
I'm not sure why they allowed this on their network, but here's a former federal judge talking about Stormy Daniels' testimony on CNN.
The material that came in was not relevant to this criminal case at all. And I think it shows that she was trying to get Trump. I actually thought there was a motive there. She said she hates him. She said she'd like to see him in prison. I think she was purposely throwing out this stuff to make sure the jurors were prejudiced, particularly the women jurors, but probably half of the men too, were really put off.
In addition to the regular proceedings of the trial, Trump is also dealing with this gag order imposed by the judge. He's currently been fined multiple times, I think up to $10,000 at this point, and the judge is now saying if he violates it again, he's potentially facing jail time. Because in New York, they will politically prosecute you and then tell you to shut up about it.
Donald Trump could be facing jail time if he continues to violate his gag order. That's according to the judge who is presiding over his hush money criminal trial in New York.
Judge Juan Merchan threatening jail time for Donald Trump after fining the former president for the 10th time because he violated his gag order again. The fine payments now totaling $10,000. But the judge says it's clear the $1,000 fines aren't working.
Then New York City Mayor Eric Adams has asked if Rikers Island is potentially ready for Donald Trump to arrive.
So at President Trump's trial, they were talking about how he might end up in jail if he continues to violate these court orders. Is Rikers prepared for that? Have you guys had those discussions yet? And if so, what would that even look like?
Our amazing commissioner, she is prepared for whatever comes on Rikers Island. I'm pretty sure she would be prepared to manage and deal with the situation. As you see what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. We have to adjust, in this business, particularly around law enforcement, we have to adjust whatever comes our way, but, we don't want to deal with a hypothetical, but they're professionals, they'll be ready.
You have any corrections yet? I'm sorry? You haven't had those discussions with corrections about that situation?
Yeah.
After walking out of the courtroom, here's what Donald Trump had to say about the whole thing.
The gag order, as to that first question, as you know, they've taken away my constitutional rights, so I'm not allowed to answer that question. This has never happened in this country before. It's a ridiculous thing. It's a ridiculous case. I did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. Take a look at Greg Jarrett this morning. He went on. Take a look at Andrew McCarthy or Jonathan Turley or Mark Levin. It's like they say there's no case here. And yet the judge has gagged me, and I'm not allowed to talk about, I guess, his total conflict. The judge is totally conflicted, and you ought to take a look at it. And I'm not supposed to be talking about it. But I am allowed to say that the judge has a conflict that like nobody's ever had before, and you ought to take a look at it. He's taken away my constitutional right to speak. I was in Miami this weekend, and reporters are asking me questions, the same questions like you're asking me, and I have to say I have a gag order, I can't speak about it. Never happened before, ever. Number one. Number two, it's a fake trial. They have no case, and it's been absolutely proven now. They have no case whatsoever. This is Alvin Bragg doing it for political reasons for Biden. This is a Biden trial. He's a crooked president. Now, it just came out, Columbia just canceled their commencement. Axios. Columbia just canceled their commencement. That shouldn't happen. And it also came out that the protesters, many of the protesters, are backed by Biden's donors. Okay? Are you listening, Israel? I hope you're listening, Israel. Hope you're getting smart. But they're backed by Biden donors. That's where the money's coming from. And I'm not surprised at all. There's many other articles, many of them having to do with the gag order and the unconstitutionality having to do with the gag order. And it is unconstitutional, and it shouldn't be allowed. And I wish people could move a little bit quicker, the appellate courts, because the whole world is watching this, and they see what's happening. More importantly, frankly, they have no case. They have absolutely no case. It's a political hoax. It's election interference. Anything they can do, and even the witnesses they want to bring up, they have nothing to do with the case. This is a ridiculous situation. Not fair, but we will fight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Then we have Jen Psaki, the former press secretary for the Ministry of Truth.
We're in regular touch with social media platforms. Well, first, we are in regular touch with these social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff, but also members of our COVID-19 team. So we're regularly making sure social media platforms are aware of the latest narratives dangerous to public health. That is an example of the kind of information that we are flagging or raising. We've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation. That is an example of the kind of information that we are flagging or raising. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook.
This clip was all over the internet over the last couple of days. She's talking about Donald Trump and going to jail and potentially him dying.
I think many of them want to be close to power. They also assume or have this thought in their mind that maybe Donald Trump will go away. Maybe he'll go to jail. Maybe he will die, not to be too morbid, but maybe, he's not a young man.
Most people are sharing the 14-second clip that you just watched. However, I tried to find the full clip. It appears as though MSNBC does not have this show or the full clip on their platforms, and this was the best I could find. I'll leave it up to you whether it makes it better or worse.
But why? Why? We know why Senator Tim Scott is embarrassing himself on TV every day. He wants to be vice president. We know. But to your point about Mitch McConnell or Bill Barr or any of these people, why? Is it just to be close to power? They believe Donald Trump's going to get reelected. What is it?
I think there's two categories. There's obviously the Tim Scott category, as you said. That's embarrassing to watch, cringy. I've watched it many times. I think many of them want to be close to power. They also assume or have this thought in their mind that maybe Donald Trump will go away. Maybe he'll go to jail. Maybe he will die, not to be too morbid, but maybe, he's not a young man. Who knows what's in their minds? They think maybe I will be behind the Oval Office. Maybe I will be in the Oval Office. The other category is the one you mentioned, of course, of all of these people. Bill Barr also, that guy's not going to be in government again. To me, those are people who are fearful of the mob.
Kujichagulia.